2, 3, 4.
No. 5, 6, 7, 8.
If you're really keen on the Madison scene, wanna get up and go to the latest show, theater, dance, music and arts. If you wanna be in the know, Biz Buzz with Bruno, a singer, an author or a playwright, a dancer or an actor in the spotlight, artists, poets, comedians too. Look at all the things Bruno has for you. If you're really keen on the Madison scene, wanna get up and go to the latest show, theater, dance, music and arts. If you wanna be in the know, Biz Buzz with Bruno.
Showbiz Buzz with Bruno is presented by madstheater.com. And I've got a lot to say.
Presented by Mad's Theater. Theater.com.
Hello and welcome to Showbiz Buzz with Bruno, presented by Mads Theater. I'm your host, Michael Bruno, and today we have lovely people in from Madison Theatre Guild. Please help me welcoming Kendra Thompson, who is returning to our wonderful stage today, and a new friend, who has actually been the new artistic director of Madison Theatre Guild, Sam Weeks. So let's talk about Sam, because I want to know all about you.
Okay.
So just tell us, how did you come to your journey to be here with us today?
Well, I moved to Madison from Texas in 2022. My husband was getting his doctoral degree in flute performance here at UW-Madison.
Flute performance?
He
Wow.
is a flautist, and a very good one at that. So we moved to Madison, and I was doing theater before. I have a BFA in musical theater from Sam Houston State University. So that's what I'd been doing, was performing, and I wanted to perform when I got here, and I sought that out and found Madison Theatre Guild. I did some shows over the past couple of years with them, and then I took a year off, and I went to the Bowles Center in the business school at UW, and I got my master's in arts and creative enterprise leadership. So that's where I'm at now. I just finished that, got my master's, and got on board with Madison Theatre Guild.
And what was the first show you did with Theatre Guild? Do you remember?
Yeah, I actually started with Bad in Bed, written by Karen Sari.
Oh, Karen Sari.
Yeah, fantastic. A great group of people. I met so many friends that I get to go see in shows still, and it was a great show to start off with here. So I did that. I did Moon Over Buffalo, Miss Bennett, Christmas at Pemberley. And then we just did Arsenic and Old Lace last season. So.
Excellent. So how did you find Sam?
So Sam auditioned for Arsenic and Old Lace, and I was helping with the production of that. I was assistant producer. And so I got to watch Sam from the sidelines. And it's impossible not to just absolutely adore this amazing human being the minute you start talking to him. And Sam had actually reached out to Madison Theatre Guild and said, I want to take a look at your board and how effective it is. And he actually, one of his projects in his master's program was meeting with us and providing consultation on ways that we can improve as a board. And so then watching how he worked as an artist and how he treated other people, I just completely fell in love with him. And I was like, in the back of my mind going, somehow we have got to get this guy at Madison Theatre Guild. We've got to get him locked in to community theater. He's going to be in Madison for a while, and I don't want to let him go. So
It wasn't difficult, was it?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Twist his arm.
Yeah, no.
Twist his
So
arm,
the
twist his
funny
arm.
thing is, we met for coffee, and I was like so nervous going in. I mean, I am sweating, and my mouth is dry, and I'm going to drink coffee, which is horrible when you're severely dehydrating yourself because you're sweating so bad. But I was like, be calm, be calm. I'm like, I don't want him to reject me. And I go to sit down to talk with him, and he's like, I'd like to be artistic director. And I'm like, what? And he had all of these ideas, and I'm like, well, I want you on our board.
Because there hasn't been an artistic director for Theatre Guild for a long time.
And
Correct?
I can correct, and I contend that that is one of the reasons that Madison Theatre Guild had some issues, is because they didn't have a clear definition or direction regarding what kind of material they were putting out. They started blending in with all of the other theater companies who are already doing amazing work, you know, in their areas of expertise. And so, you know, the first thing Sam and I talked about, and being a guy with like a marketing background, he got it. He was like, yeah, we want to do these kind of plays. We want to be known for being this. We want people to know when they see one of our productions what they're going to get. And, you know, so he is going to be providing that artistic direction that is going to help us differentiate ourselves so that people understand the Madison Theatre Guild brand, who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a really exciting time because it's a whole new board. We have new people coming in. The cast for An Ideal Husband, there's a lot of people who haven't participated with Madison Theatre Guild before. So it feels like definitely like a turning of the page, kind of like we're getting a fresh start on things, which is really exciting.
That's great. And you're also one of the PTCs at the Bartell, participating theater companies, correct? Yeah. So they kind of like that whole community, which has had its ups and downs, and everybody seems to be like, everybody's worked with like a lot of different groups in town. They find their niche in one particular group. But now it just seems like people bounce between, you know, either working backstage or directing or acting or producing. And I like the fact that because the Bartell is there, it allows those companies to help each other. Instead of being, okay, we're doing this show and you can't do that show, and I'm not going to work for you because I work for this. And a lot of that has happened over the years because I'm old and I've seen it all. So.
Not happening now.
I've been around.
And that's one of the things I love about the Madison theater community is that they do share people, like they share talent. You see the actors, you see the directors bouncing between companies, and I think that's amazing. That's what it should be.
Yeah, do you want to promote what you're doing this spring, in fact?
I will.
Here you go. What a segue.
You
Love
ready?
it.
I was cast in Noises Off for Madison Public Theater. So that's something exciting for me that like I'm, even as being artistic director for Madison Theatre Guild, I'm going out and I'm participating, and I'm wanting the success for other companies as well. And being able to promote our nice.
Hannah Nice.
I always pronounce her last name wrong. Nice.
I should always say nice.
Yeah.
Hannah nice. Hannah's nice. Deb is nice. Deb is one of our producers.
Yeah. Hannah's directing, and she has a show opening.
Dracula the Feminist. Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm not going to get it.
I'm not going to remember the name. Yeah.
Dracula the Feminist Bloodsucker.
Yeah.
That's it.
So we definitely like to share talent and to help
Isabel
support each
is
other.
working with Jan Leventhal right now on Green Street doing the piece Head on a Platter. So and Isabel
Salome.
Blank is also one of our board members. So you can't cocoon yourself. You can't cocoon your board. And quite frankly, Madison Theatre Guild would not exist today if the Bartell theater community didn't step in a year ago and recruit me and put on the fundraising performance of Arsenic and Old Lace. And I mean, it took the whole community theater group in order to bring Madison Theatre Guild back to the point where now we can have a normal season. And we are just so grateful to the Bartell, to the foundation, to Steve Knowles, to Stephanie Monday, to everyone on that board. Because again, you know, it would have been so sad to lose Madison Theatre Guild, the longest running community theater company in Madison, to lose the Firehouse, which is such a significant place for costuming, for set design. Hopefully within the next year for rehearsals, we're trying to recreate that rehearsal space there. So Yeah, I would not say right now that there's a lot of cocooning happening in community theater.
We're spreading the love.
We are.
And, now there's so many companies doing so many shows that how do you pick? I mean, how do you really pick and choose? Because in one weekend, there are probably like 6 different companies doing performances. So it's like you got to have a community of people. It's like, okay, we'll see your show this weekend because the next weekend we're doing a matinee. Are you doing a matinee? No, we're only doing it, which is why we do with Savoyards.
Yep.
We stopped doing Saturday night shows because we figured, why should we compete when we could get a Saturday and just do a Saturday matinee and a Sunday matinee? Then our cast has a chance to see other shows, and people who are in other shows get to see our shows. So I think that kind of community, knowing that because actors and actresses, like you just said, with Elizabeth Goki, having worked with her in Savoyards, now she's in your show. So they all bounce around, but given the opportunities that make it work together so that we can all enjoy and benefit the fact that you have all this talent in Madison.
Absolutely. I know we have another show coming up in the spring, and we've been talking to people, directors. We've been, thinking about what we want to do with that. We can go ahead and pitch that. Yeah.
Oh, do you want to pitch? Yeah, you can pitch it. You're the artistic director. I'm not going to tell you no.
We're going to do The Butter and Egg Man.
I love it.
By George S. Kaufman. And so we're really excited about that. It's something fun. I was looking at the script, and there's a lot of fun roles in it. And we're just really excited to have something that doesn't feel like everything else that you see a lot. So it's got that old-timey, fun, charming feel to it.
I love that. So when was the last time, and you may not know this, it's a trick question. When was the last time Theatre Guild did a musical?
Was it Hairspray?
I think it was Rock of Ages. It was that.
Oh, wait. No, you're right. Rock of Ages. It wasn't
Theatre
Hairspray. It
Guild?
was, yeah. It was Rock of Ages.
That
That's
was before
what it
I
was.
got here. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
And was that in conjunction with Steve Knoll?
Yes.
Didn't Steve produce that at the Bartell?
Yes.
Okay. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, here we go, back in the day, my day, when I was at the Theatre Guild was known for doing musicals. And that was their bread and butter back then when we actually went into the high schools, at West High School, and La Follette, and East, and Memorial. They were known for doing musicals. And then suddenly musicals became like the bread and butter of other companies.
Yeah.
And Theatre Guild didn't do musicals for a long time. 'Cause number one, they're expensive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And number two,
So expensive.
you have to have musicians, and you have to have an orchestra, and you have to have all this kind of stuff with it. But I think now, since other companies shown that people are always interested in having musicals, is that on your radar at all to bring musicals to Theatre Guild?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Maybe later on down the line we'll look at it again. But I think right now other places are doing it, and they're doing them well. Like we're gonna let them take that and run with it and find where our path on the road of what we can do and do well.
Yeah.
And then do you have like a set amount of shows you want to do a year? Like most companies say, we're only doing 3 a year, or we're doing 5 a year, or we're doing, is that been set in stone? Or have you thought about that? Or is it just going to be what you feel artistically and financially you can handle? And that'll be an open-ended issue.
Yeah, that's something we haven't discussed quite yet. It definitely depends on the Bartell and the availability of the space, since, like you said, we do share with other theater companies. And of course, the financial aspect of it all. I think we do tend to go with about 3 shows a season, somewhere around that number. But if we have another space or availability in our calendar and the financial backing to do more, I think we're definitely open to that.
Yeah. I think right now we're being very conservative and starting off. And for Madison Theatre Guild, we also have to remember that we are responsible financially for the firehouse.
Right.
And so it's something like a musical, which is so expensive. There are theater companies that don't have a space like the firehouse that they have to afford. So let them do the musical. Although if Bartell Theater has talked about, in conjunction, like all of the groups putting on a musical at some point, and we would definitely participate in that. But we just always have to think about, can we afford the firehouse? Because we're not just affording it for ourselves, we're affording it for the rest of our community theater organizations, and we have to be very diligent about that. And we just have to do the same thing in terms of deciding how many shows we're putting on. One of the things that I loved when Sam and I first talked is he's like, I want to do some readers theater. I want to do nights where maybe it's a dark night at the Bartell and we can bring people in and we can do a readers theater production and, you know, have interaction with the audience and feedback from them. And we actually have a director who has approached us with some ideas for like dark nights at the Bartell, and I could come in and for 2 nights put on this show. And so we may be looking at some really interesting different ways of putting on more productions when there's nothing going on at the Bartell that will allow us to do maybe 3 shows versus 2. So,
and that's going to be a tough thing too, because now the Bartell is, you know, it has movies in there and they have dance companies. They have, I mean, the rental of the Bartell is kind of, you know, it's like you better book it now because the time in the space are not going to be available. So that's great that you have to look for a dark night if you can find a dark night anymore. And they, for a while, I mean, even companies were doing late night shows, which kind of went away. And then Broom Street did that for a while, and I know that the Bartell were doing shows after for people who can stay up past 10 o'clock.
oh my gosh.
The youngsters, you know. The people that have to get up and 5 times during the night. But that's a great idea. I mean, the more you use the spaces that you have and the more that you have people using it, obviously it's better for the whole community.
Oh, yeah. Right? And we want, I mean, ultimately we want to be able to interact with the community more. We want to be able to bring them into the firehouse more. We've been having a lot of costume sales to raise money for the firehouse, and you wouldn't believe the number of people who stop in just because they're like, I see this building all the time and I've always wondered what it's like inside. So giving the community the chance to come just walk through the doors, I think, is a big thing that we'd like to do. If it's hosting, you know, staged readings in the backyard of the firehouse. Little things like that, just finding ways that we can interact more with the community and give them, see what they want and give them what they're wanting.
So financially, you're talking about the upkeep of the firehouse. Isn't it still $1 a year from the city?
It's
Did that
$1
change?
a year, but the burn rate is about $18,000 a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's,
we still are required to like pay insurance.
Right.
Pay electrical, pay all the utilities, do all of that. And so, it isn't like it's free. And there's major upkeep that has to happen. We're excited to announce that in October, at some point, a new roof is getting put on.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
That was a long time in coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that is happening, but there's also like major plastering then that needs to be done and some plumbing that needs to be taken care of. And so we raised the money to do one thing, and now it's more things because we want to make sure that we are good stewards of that building. So.
And that building's been around for a long time.
Since the 1930s.
Yeah. Wow.
When it was
amazing.
Fire Station number 7.
Amazing. So let's talk about Oscar Wilde. And let's talk about An Ideal Husband. So you told me earlier that you've always wanted to do An Ideal Husband, and now it's kind of coming to fruition.
Oh my gosh!
So what attracted you? Because it's not a very well known piece that isn't done all the time. When you talk about Oscar Wilde, right?
Yes. Okay. So everybody loves Importance of Being Earnest. So do I. That said, this play just holds a special place in my heart. I think it's been referred to as a social comedy because it's super funny. I mean, it has the Oscar Wilde zingers that are in it, especially the ones from Arthur Goring, are just fabulous. And so you laugh your way through the play. But there's also a darkness to it. You know, there is an issue of you have a lead character who, in his play, the Sir Robert Chiltern, who he creates a vast fortune for himself by selling a government secret. He does something very, very wrong in his youth because he's poor, because he wants to advance himself. And then he goes on to lead a very noble, honorable life, you know, and he thinks that he's made up for it. and then he gets blackmailed. And, you know, that is where, like, the tension of the story is and the dilemma. He's kept this truth from his wife, who is a very high moral grounded woman who does not believe that at the start that there should be forgiveness for bad behavior. And so he's trying to shield her from it so he doesn't lose her, and everything spirals out of control. And there's a great deal of conversation around, is this a forgivable offense? Will it only be forgivable if everybody knows about it? What will happen if he confesses his sin to the world? And even in conclusion, like Robert Chiltern, who is the one that had the transgression that he made in his youth, he kind of gets away with it. He gets his wife back. The blackmailer ends up getting blackmailed and the evidence destroyed. And he goes on to do many successful things in life. And so you leave like you're rooting for him, but then a part of you is like, but if you fast forwarded to today, would you want that politician to get busted for selling a state secret? You know, you kind of would.
So where and when is the setting for it?
So
what's your take on
thank
this?
you for asking. So I modernized the script,
Okay.
and I'm setting it in present day DC. And before anybody goes, I just can't have anything more to do with politics right now. This is not a play about politics. And so you will not watch this going Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Socialist, Communist. You won't. This is a play that if you had to dilute it down to its essence is nobody is whom they seem. The most uprighteous man that you see is Robert Chiltern, who in our play is a senator now because we've modernized it and we brought it to Washington, D.C. So we got rid of the lords and the ladies and all of that. He's a senator that's running for governor that has presidential ambitions. You do not know his politics. You just know that he is a good and honorable man. And he's in a very loving relationship with a good and honorable wife. And their lives are happy and perfect until they're not, because they're blown up by the one indiscretion of his youth, okay? But if you dilute this play down to its essence, who he first comes off as is not who he really is. Like there is something in his past. Also, you have the character of Arthur Goring, who just seems a playboy, an idol, and is flippant about everything in life, who ends up being the moral compass that saves Robert Chiltern's marriage with his wife. He ends up being the counselor for both of them, and he ends up being the one that rescues Robert from the shame of being exposed. So the one that seems silly and idle and useless in society and doing nothing with his life is the actual moral compass. And so, yeah, I love that contrast. And there's a lot of humor in that. And there's also a lot of truth in that. I mean, Oscar Wilde could just hold a mirror up to society and be like, this is who you are. And what's really crazy about this process, because I did adapt it, and as a result, I changed some names, I changed some scenarios, I added a couple of different things in.
Did you have to change the cadence and the language at all?
Yes. In order to fuse modern and wild, you bet I did. Although so much of it is still very, very Oscar Wilde. And I will be sitting and I will be watching a scene and somebody will be like, wow, you did that really well. I'm like, that's not me. That's Oscar Wilde. I mean, it still is. I got rid of, like, one of the things Wilde likes to do is use 8 verbs or adjectives to describe something, and he'll just like go on and on and on.
That's true.
And I'm like, I'm choosing one. You know, so like that's how I cut a lot of stuff. I'm like, okay, you've already said this sentence like 8 different times in this monologue. So, okay, one of the 8 stays the other 7 go. And so I go through and I do that because he does love his redundancy, and he is such a brilliant writer that, yeah, of course, his redundancy is fabulous. I don't blame him for not wanting to kill any of his darlings. But I didn't want it to be a 4-act play that was 3.5 hours long. I wanted it to be a play under 2 hours that had 2 acts. So yeah, I had to cut a lot of stuff. I added some stuff, but it's his language. It's a lot of his themes. There were very few of his themes that I got rid of. And the one that I did get rid of, I had to. Throughout this play, there is a theme of like the woman's role in the marriage and the house. And it's the woman's role to forgive, and the woman's role to understand that her husband is leading a bigger life than hers, a more important life, and be subservient to him and respect the pressure that he's under. And had we been doing a historically accurate play, I could go, okay, keep that in because it's Victorian England, and it's a reminder of where women came from, and there is some humor in it. But if you're modernizing the play and somebody like me is sitting in the audience, I'm like, what did you just say? It's not going to fly. So I did have to get rid of that.
And do you know where in his list of plays that he wrote this?
Yes. So, okay. Super cool trivia.
Okay.
So his first play was Lady Windermere's Fan, which I'm really hoping we will do. I want to do that one so bad. Then A Woman of No Importance, which is also fabulous. An Ideal Husband came out in 1895, January of 1895. Several weeks later, Importance of Being Earnest debuted in 1895. So both of these plays came out within weeks of each other to much acclaim. And then, in April of 1895, Oscar Wilde was arrested for gross indecency. And so, 130 years ago, it should have been the best year of his life, and it ended up being a nightmare. He was not only charged, he was found guilty. He was sentenced to 2 years hard labor. By the time he got out of jail, he was exiled. He was living in poverty. He tried to sell his publications for both Importance of Being Earnest and An Ideal Husband, and there was little success with doing that, so he basically died in poverty. And, he didn't get to see the tremendous success of his plays now that are just like so beloved. But yes, he was pretty much cast aside. Even some of his most ardent friends abandoned him. And one of the things that I think, I don't know if he intended this, but in An Ideal Husband, Robert Chiltern has a secret that he doesn't want anybody to know because it will lead to his ruin. And there is a lot of discussion around that secret. And I just kind of wonder, if that's a little bit how Oscar Wilde felt too. And of course, he gives his protagonist, Robert Chiltern, an out. And Robert Chiltern is protected in a way that Oscar Wilde himself was most certainly not protected.
Fascinating.
So, yeah.
Which led to the 3 trials of Oscar Wilde.
It did. It did. Yeah.
Interesting. So now, are you co-producing the show?
Mm-hmm.
Is that your
I'm
official title?
Producing.
Assistant producing?
Yeah. So I've been working a lot with doing our social media, things like that. Just helping wherever Kendra needs help.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Cool. So talk to me a little bit about your collaborators. Who's doing your costumes and sets and lights and the behind the scenes important people as well as your actors and directors?
Okay. Well, first of all, I've never worked with an assistant director before. And we had this lovely young lady, Emma Sorensen, who I'm telling you is going to be big in community theater. And then she's going to get her MFA and go on and do other fabulous things. but she is my assistant director, and she has been outstanding to work with. I went into having an assistant director with so many trepidations. I'm like, is this gonna work? Because I had a very clear vision for what I wanted, and I'm not really good at sharing authority. You know, you talk to my husband and it's like, I have to be right and it has to be my way. But she got from the beginning what I wanted to do. And I think she got it because it was kind of what she wanted to do. And so it's really scary because we will be sharing notes and she'll be like, Kendra, I was going to tell you this, look. And it's just like, we just really are of one mind about it, and working with someone so young and so energetic that just knows how to treat actors with incredible respect and to give clear, concise direction and to go in with a vision so that nobody is confused about what that vision is. That's her. And so it's been just thrilling working with her. Our fabulous Isabel Blank, who is on the board, is doing our costuming, and Arthur Goring is going to look fabulous. Fabulous. I'm just saying. We actually, what I love so much is both our Gertrude Chiltern, who is the senator's wife, Sarah Johnson. She's like, I've got the perfect wardrobe for her. And then we ended up with the Laura Chevley that we started off with isn't the one we ended up with because my dear friend Annie J, who is so talented, decided to abandon us for New York City. She moved away.
Well, how dare she?
I know. I was so devastated. But thank you, Jason Compton, because he found for me our new Laura Chevley. And I mean, her name is Lori. What is it? Gutierrez? I don't even know how to pronounce her last name. She is from Sun Prairie Civic Theater. And she is just an outstanding Laura Chevley. And she's like, I must costume her. And she's like found all of her own costumes and they're all perfect. So yeah, we have a fabulous assistant director, a fabulous costumer, and some of the actors that are like, and I will do my own costuming.
Gotta like that.
I gotta like that. Oh my gosh, yeah.
That's one of the nice things about doing a modern take on
exactly.
it. People might have in their wardrobe where if you're gonna do it, it's written.
Yeah.
You gotta have somebody, come up with all those costumes of
know.
that period.
Historical pieces
Yeah.
are quite challenging. Okay, and then we have a lovely props person that Emma that I don't know her last name. I want to say it's just with an S.
I was going to say the same thing. We're so bad at names.
She's so good. They're just so good. And we have a young man named Tim Knowles who is for the first time working with us on lighting. So Dylan Sheehan
I love my Dylan.
and Chad Abel are doing our set construction, set design. So very excited about that. And we just got this young kid from Epic who reached out and is like, hey, I'll help if I can. And
Wow.
he's doing like painting and he's going to be our lone stage crew person. So yeah, we have a lot of great people working
we've really been
backstage.
blessed with the people
We have
who
been.
Yeah, that's
come
great.
out and
Yeah.
sign up.
Jan Leventhal, because she has like not enough to do in life, of course.
Right?
Yeah, is designing our program. So yeah, we're very fortunate.
And are you in the Eview or are you upstairs in the Drury?
We're in the Drury.
So you're in the big theater.
We are in the big
The big
theater.
theater.
Yes, of course.
And you open when?
September 26th.
Yay.
So that's next Friday.
Yeah,
I know. Oh my
right?
gosh.
Get your
Swear we're ready. Yeah.
And are you running 3 weekends or 2 weekends?
Three.
It's 3
I have
weekends.
something think in my head. Yeah,
I know.
3.
I'm sure tickets are on sale at the box office at the Bartell.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah, you
That
can
is
find
correct.
it through our website, MadisonTheatreGuild.org, which will link you to the Bartell where you can purchase tickets online.
Perfect. And are you doing, is there an age requirement on it? Or is it all ages?
It is all ages. I think 10 or older would be really advisable just because of the humor.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you bring a 5-year-old, they'll be like, "Why is everybody laughing?"
Well, right.
So like that's the only age thing, but it's not as if there's anything about this play that is inappropriate for a 10 or a 12-year-old to see at all.
It's very charming, very, very
It
charming.
is,
Yeah.
and it's funny, and we really abridged it so that it is done in under 2 hours, and so you can come, you can have a lovely night at the theater, and afterwards there's still time to get that drink. Or to get
Always
home,
time to get that
or like
drink.
my husband get home and be in bed by like 10 o'clock, which is late for him.
So this is your opening of this season, is that right?
Yes.
And do you have the rest of the season? Obviously, must be set.
Yes.
Yes.
What are the other shows after this?
The Butter and Egg Man
Uh-huh.
is the only other one we're doing this season that's in our main season. We might add in some additional programming that won't be part of our main season later on, but for right now it's those 2 shows for fall and spring.
Lovely. Lovely. Anything else that we haven't talked about?
Well,
There's
a
a
lot
trick
we
question.
haven't talked about.
There's a trick question. There's a trick question. Well, wonderful. An Ideal Husband by Oscar Wilde.
Yes.
Adapted and directed by the lovely Kendra Thompson. Assisted and produced and assistant producing by the new artistic director, Mr. Sam Weeks. So I'm delighted to finally meet after all these weeks of not knowing you.
I see
Yeah,
what you
see what I did there?
You're so clever.
So go now and buy your tickets. Go and see the show, and I'm sure you'll have a wonderful time. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, the wonderful Brett, and everybody else. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.